So I'm level 42 now in Raven 2, and I think I finally understand what this game actually wants to be. Because this isn't really a game you lock in and sweat through. Raven 2 is very much a brain kind of off game, and that's not automatically a bad thing. But it is something you need to know before you decide whether this game is for you. Today I want to talk about Elementalist gameplay, the story and world, and give you an honest mid-game review, including the part people keep dancing around. This game kind of plays itself. Everything you're seeing here is mid-game footage. Level 42 Elementalist. No boosted account, no endgame hand waving. This is the phase where most games either open up or completely fall apart. And Raven 2 definitely reveals its design philosophy here. Let's start with the Elementalist, because this class honestly carries a lot of the experience. The Elementalist is a ranged, spell-heavy class built around AoE damage and positioning. When you're actively playing, it actually feels good. Spells hit hard, visuals are flashy, combat looks great. Strengths, strong mob clearing, visually satisfying abilities, feels powerful without being invincible. When you manually control fights, you can tell there's a real combat system here. Weaknesses, squishy if you overpool, mana management matters, boss fights punish sloppy movement. The problem isn't the class, the problem is how often the game asks you to actually play it. This is where Raven 2 becomes weird, because mechanically, combat works. But structurally, the game is built around auto battle, auto everything, auto movement, auto combat, auto skills, auto quests. You tap a quest, your character runs there, fights, casts spells, turns it in. And if you let it, you can go minutes at a time without touching the screen. The result, it creates this strange disconnect where you're technically progressing, but mentally you're kind of checked out. It's not that the combat is bad, it's that the game doesn't need you to engage with it. When the game wakes up, boss fights and tougher encounters are the exception. That's when autoplay starts to break down and you actually have to step in. And ironically, those moments are when Raven 2 is at its best. This is where I want to be really clear. Calling Raven 2 a game that plays itself isn't an insult, it's a design choice. The game is clearly designed to be low cognitive load. You're meant to progress while multitasking. Watching TV, doing chores, half paying attention. It's not trying to demand your full focus like a Souls game or an ARPG. It's closer to an idle MMO with extremely high production value. And whether that's a positive or negative depends entirely on you. Here's the irony. Raven 2 actually has a great atmosphere. World design, dark fantasy tone, gritty environments, consistent visual identity. The world looks like it wants you to take it seriously. The story is there, but it's optional. Dialogue, lore, and context exist, but the game never forces you to slow down and absorb them. Which means if you're auto-playing, you'll barely notice the narrative at all. The story isn't bad, it's just easy to sleepwalk past. At level 42, progression still feels steady. The good regular upgrades, clear sense of growth, no hard paywall yet. You're always chasing the next number, the next piece of gear, the next unlock. The trade-off, but because so much of that progression happens automatically, it starts to feel more like monitoring progress than earning it. You're watching bars fill instead of actively pushing them. Again, not broken, just very specific. And yes, it's a Netmarble game. Yes, monetization exists, but at this stage, it's more about convenience and acceleration than hard paywalls. The game subtly encourages you to spend to speed things up, which pairs perfectly with the autoplay design. Spend less time playing while still progressing. That's the ecosystem. If you've played similar mobile MMOs, none of this will shock you. And this is the most important part of the review. You'll like Raven 2 if you want a low-stress game, you enjoy passive progression, you like watching numbers go up, you want something running in the background. You won't like it if you want constant engagement, you hate automation, you want full control all the time. This isn't a bad game, it's a hands-off game. At level 42, Raven 2 hasn't collapsed under its own systems. Elementalist is fun when you actively play. The world is atmospheric, progression is steady, but this game absolutely prioritizes convenience over engagement. If you're okay with a game that plays itself most of the time, Raven 2 does that very well. If you want something that demands your attention, this probably isn't it. Let me know what class you're playing and whether you're actively fighting or letting the game run. Like the video if this helped, subscribe if you want honest mid-game and end-game breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one.